Good afternoon, everybody. Friday afternoon and a happy one in Detroit. I am your host, Justin Rose, and this is Sports Buzz Live. We're talking today, of course, about the NFL Draft. Round 1 completed last night. Round 2 and 3 get started tonight at 7 o'clock, and then 4, 5, and 6 this weekend, on Saturday. But we have to start with the Lions' first round pick, number 21 overall, a linebacker, a position of need, dire need, if you ask me. Jarrad Davis out of the University of Florida. This is the guy that was pegged by a lot of different mock drafts to come to the Lions, but didn't come without a little bit of interesting conjecture as well, because, of course, the first round of the NFL Draft, year in and year out, is constantly mocked, and this is what's going to happen. And then, of course, it all goes away quite quickly, especially with all the quarterback trading that happened and whatnot last night. But Jarrad Davis is the guy that the Lions pegged at 21 overall. Reuben Foster from Alabama was available there, but they decided to pass on him. We'll dive into that in a little bit. Justin Rogers from the Detroit News will be joining me in just a couple of minutes to discuss that pick and what they're going to do in the next round. But let's talk a little bit about Davis. His intangibles are what the Lions are absolutely looking for. He's a leader. He's a character guy. And not only is he those two things, but he's quite athletic as well. You look at his stats. He's a big-bodied guy, 6 feet, 238 pounds. In what he brings to the table, he's a guy who can stop the run. And I think that's what really bled the Lions for so many years, is they didn't have an interior presence since Chris Spielman. If you go that far back into time, Chris Spielman was the kind of the guy that used to be the go-to captain of the defense. And right now you think of the Lions defense, and you have to ask yourself this question: who is the captain of this Lions defense? And some might say Darius Slay, and that's true to a certain degree, but he's the back-end guy. And then you look up front like a Ziggy Ansah. Yeah, but maybe not. It's got to be a linebacker. He's a young guy. He's got lots to prove. And Bob Quinn has done an outstanding job of evaluating talent and bringing in guys who fit the mold of what the Lions want to be as a franchise. Jarrad Davis does nothing but solidify that. So as we continue to keep going here, we want to make sure we get your comments, thoughts, just right here on this beautiful Facebook Live page. Down, and I kind of want to talk about on. This is the guy that was, of course, top 5 talent out of Alabama, but he came with some red flags. He had shoulder surgery. He went under the knife, and anytime a player coming out of college has some sort of scar tissue in more than one way, it's never a good thing. Health is the biggest ability you need to have in the NFL, in any professional sport in reality, is availability. So that being the case, look at what happened with DeAndre Levy. They no longer can take solace in picking a guy who ends up not playing for him. DeAndre Levy cost the Lions, I don't know if he cost them wins and losses so much, but he definitely cost them money and time. And quite frankly, they're running out of it with contracts and trying to build the team to be successful. So Reuben Foster was a top 5 talent guy across the board, but he didn't have quite the intangibles like the leadership roles, like the character that Bob Quinn was looking for, that Jarrad Davis did possess. Look, in college football, only 3 guys, maybe 4 guys per team get nominated by their peers as captain, and Davis was one of those. And if you want to, argue whether or not that's a big deal or not, I would say yes. I would always want a guy that certainly has those leadership capabilities, who can understand who's a good guy, a team player. Those things are important, let alone talent. You can't just get by on talent in the NFL if you want to be part of a winning team. Look at the great players around on bad teams. They may be the, most talented and gifted players out there, but without those intangibles, it's really hard for them to do much else. So I look at that as part of one of the reasons that they brought him in. And Reuben Foster, another thing, if you're wondering, oh, well, the Lions missed on that. So did the 8 other teams after they did. He didn't go till 31st overall, and some of the teams that passed on him were teams that could have easily taken him, but he's going to the 49ers, and good luck to him out there. The Lions don't have to play him, obviously, so it'll be fun to kind of look at those two careers between Reuben Foster and Jarrad Davis as we go forward, because that's what Lions fans are going to be able to do. We didn't take him there. We took the other linebacker over top of him, but here we go, and we'll be able to see how their careers progress in line, and it is interesting. They do play the same position, so we'll know who's better than not. We ready to go? All right, Justin Rogers is going to join me now from the Detroit News. This guy knows a thing or two about the NFL draft. And Justin, when I bring you in here, first and foremost, the Lions A+ on this pick. Can we safely say that they got the guy they needed to get?
I don't want to go A+. I mean, it's a little bit drastic for pick 21, but it was a good fit, a high-character guy, fills a big position in need, and in an area where they've really struggled in covering the middle of the field. You know, Davis has got some injury concerns. You know, there's still a bit of a projection there, but a solid pick. I think there's a reason many of the local reporters mocked Davis before the thing happened. It was just a right fit for this team.
Looks like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with the phone issue right now. I thought we had Justin there for a second, but we're working on that right now. So as we work on that right now, we're going to take a look at some of your comments as we look back here. Michael wants to know, who do you think the Lions take in the second round? That's something, of course, Justin and I will talk about here in a second when he gets on. But I think they're going to continue to build on the depth of the draft. There's a lot of defensive help that they're going to need to get as they continue to move forward. Offense is not kind of what the Lions need to do in this draft, so I'm going to think that they're going to continue to look at some defensive options in the second round, maybe a cornerback or defensive lineman. Very deep draft for both of those positions. I'll talk to Justin about that as we continue to get those bugs worked out. Let's see. Brian gets in with Mixon will be around, and will the Lions take a chance with him? That's a really interesting thought, Brian, when you look at it, because Mixon is every bit the talented player that people want him to be, but the character issues and those types of domestic assault and those types of things are just today's society, and it's just, you can't have it. It plagues a team, and it really hurts. Now, if you're talking from a football perspective, most people will tell you he's an unbelievable get. He's a first-round talent, and if you can get him in the second or the third round, yeah. But legal issues aside, and those types of things can hurt a locker room. It can hurt morale. I mean, think of all of the Ray Rice situation in Baltimore, what it did to that team. That team was crippled by those, outside of the locker room things. And I just don't think that the Lions are going to want to take a chance and kind of upset the apple cart by bringing in a guy who's going to have baggage. And they didn't do that with Reuben Foster. They took Jarrad Davis. They took a better quality guy who may not be as rawly athletically talented as Foster, but certainly has the opportunity to do that. All right, so now we're going to try to bring in Justin Rogers. Justin, can you hear me, my friend?
I've never had a problem hearing you. Can you hear me?
I can, absolutely. Everything sounds
look it up.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about A+ for the Lions, yes?
I'm not going to go that far, but it was a good pick. It fits a position of need. You get a guy that fits your athletic profile. He fits your character profile, and helps where you've been struggling to cover the middle of the field, particularly tight ends the last 2 years since DeAndre Levy went down. Davis has a lot of upside. He's going to be a great guy in that locker room. He's going to set the tone in the weight room, on the practice field. So it's kind of a safe pick, a can't-miss pick, but it also really fills a need. So nice job. Well done, Bob Quinn.
Bob Quinn's going to have to build on the depth from that position. Do you see Davis stepping in right away as a starter first and foremost, or is he going to have a little bit of time where he has to kind of massage himself to get into a starting role?
He's going to have to win the competition. You don't hand anything. This coaching staff doesn't hand anything to rookies, but the competition isn't too tough for a job. Tahir Whitehead's probably going to start, whether that's going to be in the middle or the weak side, and then Davis is going to be competing with Paul Warlow, free agent addition. They paid him $3 million this season, so they clearly expect a little bit out of him. And so the question becomes whether Davis is going to be a middle linebacker or a weak side linebacker to start. I think his long-term answer is he's going to be the middle linebacker. Whitehead's under contract for one more year, and I think Davis is going to be the logical replacement there.
Bob Quinn has done certainly a good job identifying the needs of the team. Linebacker, one of them. Where does he go next? When we look at round 2 and round 3 tonight, where is he going to look? I think defensive side of the ball still, but could there be a wild card option in there?
See, the beautiful thing about need is you can't just look at 2017. You look at 2018, you look at 2019. 2019, the Lions have 16 players under contract. So I look at the defensive backfield as a really likely spot for this particular draft. Even though the Lions are pretty set there for this season, they only have Darius Slay and Miles Killebrew under contract going into 2018. This is a very stacked draft at free safety. It's a very stacked draft at cornerback. I think it's a good idea to try to get one of those guys that, you know, maybe would have been a first-round talent in a different year. If you can get them in the second round, that's a great value pick. Of course, there's so many positions the Lions could go, though. I mean, nothing should really surprise fans outside of offensive lineman or quarterback. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, defensive line are all in play, and that's the beauty of having so many holes, and then also, you know, the fact that rosters turn over so quickly in the NFL.
What about Mixon? A lot of people on our chat here have said we'd love to get him if we could get him. They're taking a feeling like they want to take a gamble on a guy with some character issues. Do you think Bob Quinn he's talked about it, you've covered it. What are your thoughts on Mixon if he's available?
So Bob Quinn has been willing to take character risks, but what I haven't seen is him do it with somebody that he's investing long term. You look at the free agency sign, and you look at the draft picks he's selected, and almost all those guys are high character guys. This Mixon thing isn't a one-off incident. You know, this is a guy that not only punched and knocked out a woman in an altercation, showing no self-control or self-restraint with his anger. He 16 months ago got a parking ticket, ripped the ticket up in the officer's face, and the officer reported in her report that he intimidated her with his vehicle, driving it toward her in that altercation. So, you know, this is a guy that's just too flawed. I cannot see Quinn bringing this kind of scrutiny, this kind of negative national attention to the Lions. It's just not a team equipped to handle it. There's a lot of good running backs in this draft. I don't think you need to pin your horses to Mixon, hope that's your solution. Alvin Kamara still on the board. Kareem Hunt, kid from Toledo, who's very well-rounded, still on the board. And if you want to take a character risk, I mean, trade up and go get Dalvin Cook. At least there, you know, it's not as bad, and the production's even higher in the college ranks.
What about that, Dalvin Cook's being available? Is there any way the Lions trade up today to get that guy?
I don't see it. You know, I don't think that the team's going to trade up for a guy like that. But listen, if he's sliding and he's all the way there at pick 50 or pick 45, where the cost to move up 8 to 10 slots isn't as much, you know, anything's in play. You know, I don't see them making this wild leap up to the top of the second round, 54. At that point, you're talking about trading a future second rounder. That's just too steep of a cost. I think there's so many good players at the top of this draft. The depth is so good that you can just let the board fall to you and pick a player that'll help you. You don't need to force this running back pick. Not that big of a need. It's probably one of the lesser needs. I know a lot of people talk about it because it's a sexy position, but you know, I think the Lions have more pressing needs at prospect depth positions in this draft that they can just sit tight.
All right, Justin, I'll get you out of here on this one. Locally, Michigan had 2 first-round picks for the first time since 2005. Malik McDowell from Michigan State. It didn't go in the first round, but a lot of people think he's a really talented guy. What about some of the local interests that people should take an eye on tonight in the second and third round?
Oh, you mentioned McDowell. I think that it's really intriguing. I kind of pegged him as a guy really that could go anywhere from 15 to 70. There's just too much stuff out there about his effort, his coaches, his teammates have said it privately. You know, that's the reason he's dropping. It's not the talent. 2 guys that I actually think are fits for the Lions if they sit tight are Chris Wormley, the defensive tackle, however you want to look at him. I think he's a clear-cut defensive tackle in the Lions scheme. And then Jake Butt, you know, in my opinion, second best all-round tight end in this draft behind O.J. Howard. You take him as you know, the knowledge that you're looking at a redshirt rookie year as he recovers from the ACL. You trust in his ability to heal. That could be a really nice value pick if he's there for you in the third round. Fills that long-term tight end need that you have on this roster.
Justin Rogers, the Detroit News. You can read him all the time at DetroitNews.com. Justin, I will see you at the press conference at around 2:30 this afternoon down in Allen Park. Thanks for your time, my friend. I appreciate it.
Sounds excited. Looking forward to it.
All right, there he is, Justin Rogers. Brings up some good points in reality of what the Lions have done so far with the pick with Davis. Of course, he doesn't think it's an A-plus hit. I don't think any pick would be necessarily an A-plus hit unless it completely blows you out of the water. A linebacker is a serviceable position of need for the Lions right now, and Davis has an opportunity to come in, kind of take control of the reins of that defense and move forward. So I'm with him. I think it's a good, solid pick, but we'll see how deep Bob Quinn goes with this draft. I think that's the real key of where he builds on a good first pick, now make it a good second-round pick, make it a good third-round pick. And he's done that last year. I think he has the keys necessary to be able to do that again as we continue to move forward. So that's going to wrap it up for us on a Sports Buzz Live. Here's the deal. We're going to come back on Monday at 10:30 in the morning, and we're going to make this more of a regular weekly thing. So keep it right here on Facebook, Channel 7 WXYZ. We're going to be doing this Sports Buzz Live continuously, and we're going to keep building it. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom. You know, your mom wants to watch. I know my mom wants to watch. So we'll be doing that next Monday at 10:30, where we'll wrap up the entire draft as this team brings those guys in for OTAs in the next couple of weeks, and we'll continue to keep you very updated right here on Facebook. So that's going to do it for me, Justin Rose. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the NFL draft the rest of the weekend, and we will talk to you again on Monday. Adios.